I'm back. Um, I left off where Mrs. Chaplaw was giving Devin the rundown of, was it the horror house? And I forgot what part. I was on. Okay. Wendy's friend Renee could turn a routine trip to the dentist into a horror movie, scenario. Scena- scenario. That was the best picture, but not the only one. The cops went through all the Hollywood girl snaps from that day and found a gray girl and her friend in the background of at least four others. In the best of those, they're standing in line for the whirly cups, and he's got his hand on her keister. What is a keister? What is a keister? Keister. Okay, that is not a word. Oh, person buttocks. Person butt. Whoa. I did not know that. Keister. Okay, I lost where I was at. Where was I? Keister. 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 Pretty chummy for someone none of her family or friends had ever seen before. Too bad there aren't closed circuit TV cameras, I said. My lady friend got a job at Fellini's in Boston this summer, and she says they've got a few of those cameras and are putting in more to foil shoplifters. A day will come when they have them everywhere, she said. Just like in that science fiction book about the thought police and rides. I don't look forward to it. I don't look. I don't look forward to it either. But they'll never lead. They'll never have them in rides like Horror House. Not even infrared ones. Not even infrared ones that see in the dark. No? Nope. There's no tunnel of love at Joyland, but Horror House is most definitely the tunnel of grope. My husband told me once that a day when the graveyard shift cleanup crew didn't find at least three pairs of panties beside the track was a slow day. Was a slow day indeed. But they did have that one great photo of the guy at the shooting gallery. Uh a portrait almost. It ran in the papers and on TV for a week. Him him snuggled up to her hip to hip. Him snuggled up to her hip to hip, showing her how to hold the rifle. The way the guys always do. Everyone in both Carolinas must have seen it. She's smiling, but he looks dead serious. with with his gloves and knife in his pockets the whole time. I said, marveling at the idea. Razor, huh? He used a straight razor or something like it. That's what the medical examiner figured. Anyway, they had those photos, including the great one. And you know what? You can't make his face out of any of them because of the sunglasses. For starters, also a goatee that covered his chin and a baseball cap, the kind with the long bill that shaded what little of his face and the sunglasses and goatee didn't cover. Could have been anyone. Could have been you, except you're dark haired instead of blonde and don't have a bird's head tattoo on one of your hands. This guy did. And Igor, maybe a hawk. It showed up very clearly in the shooting gallery pic. They ran a blow up of the tat in the paper for 5 days running, hoping someone would recognize it. Nobody did. No leads at the inn where they stayed the night before. No leads at the inn where they stayed. No leads at the inn where they stayed the night before. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. He showed a South Carolina driver's license when he checked in, but it was stolen a year before. No one even saw her. She must have waited in the car. She was a Jane Doe for almost a week, but the police released a full face sketch. Made her look like she was just sleeping, not dead with her not dead with her throat cut. Someone, a friend she went to nursing school with. I think it was saw it and recognized it. I think I gotta go back. No one even saw her. She must have waited in the car. She was a Jane Doe for almost a week. But the police released a full sketch, made her look like she was just sleeping, not dead with her throat cut. Someone, a friend she went to nursing school with, I think it was, saw it and recognized it. She told the girl's parents, I can't imagine how they must have felt coming up here in their car and hoping against hope that when they got to the morgue, it would turn out to be someone else's well loved child. She shook her head slowly. She shook her head slowly. Kids are such a risk. Kids are such a risk, Dev. Did that ever cross your mind? I guess so. Which means it hasn't. Me, I think if they turn back, that she me, me, I think if they turn back that sheet and it was my daughter lying there, I lose my mind. You don't think Linda Gray really haunts the funhouse, do you? You don't think Linda Gray really haunts the funhouse, do you? I can't answer that because I hold no opinion on the afterlife, pro or con. My feeling is I'll find that stuff out when I get there, and that's good enough for me. All I know is that lots of people who work at Joyland claim to have seen her standing beside the track wearing what she had on when they wearing what she had on when they found her blue when they found her wearing what she had on when they found her blue skirt and blue sleeveless blouse. None of them would have seen those colors in the photos they released to the public because the be, be, because the speed graphics the Hollywood girls use only shoot black and white. Easier and cheaper to develop, I guess. Easier and cheaper to develop, I guess. Maybe the color of her clothes was mentioned in the articles. She shrugged. She shrugged. Might have been. I don't remember. But several people have also mentioned that the girl they saw standing by the track was wearing a blue Alice band, and that wasn't in the news stories. They held it back for almost a year, hoping to use it likely on a likely suspect if they came up with one. Lane said the Rubes never see her. No, She only shows up after hours. It's mostly happy helpers on the graveyard shift who sees her, but I know at least one safety inspector from Relay Relay who claims he did because I had a drink with him at the Sand Dollar. Guy said she was just standing there on his ride through. He thought it was a new pop up until she raised her hands to him like this. Miss Shoplaw held her hands out with the palms upturned. S- su- sup- supplicatory gesture. Supplicatory. It's my first time ever hearing that word. Supplicatory. Supplicatory. What is supplicatory? Humble, honest, pleading request. Okay. Supplicatory. Sorry, I'm doing two things at once. I'm working and reading at the same time. That's me. But I know what supplicatory is. It's like it means a humble request. It means a humble or a pleading request, often made in prayer or to someone in a position of power. Awesome. Okay. Now I lost where I was. Nice. Supplicatory, 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 supplicatory. Where are you? 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 He said it felt like the temperature dropped 20 degrees. A cold pocket, he called it. When he turned and looked back, she was gone. I thought of Lane in his tight jeans, scuffed boots, and tilted tough boy derby. Truth or horseshit, he'd asked. Live or Memorex. I thought the ghost of Linda Gray was almost certainly horseshit, but I hoped it wasn't. I hoped I would see her. It would be a great story to tell Wendy. And in those days, all my thoughts led back to her. If I bought this shirt, would Wendy like it? If I wrote a story about a young girl getting her first kiss while on a horseback ride, would Wendy enjoy it? If I saw the ghost of a murdered girl, would Wendy be fascinated? Maybe enough to want to come down to see and see for herself. There there was a follow-up story in the Charleston News and Courier about 6 months after the murder. Miss Shoplaw said, turns out that since 1961, there have been four similar murders in Georgia and the Carolinas, all young girls. One stabbed, one stabbed, three others with their throats cut. The reporter dug up at least one cop who said all of them could have been killed by the guy who murdered Linda Gray. Beware the funhouse killer. I said in a deep, beware the funhouse killer. I said in a deep announcer type voice. That's exactly what the paper called him. Hungry, hungry, weren't you? You ate everything but the bowl. Now I think you better write me that check and beat feet to the and beat feet and beat feet to the bus station or you're apt you're apt to be spending the night on my sofa, which looked comfortable enough, but I was anxious to get back north. 2 days left in spring break, and I'd be back at school with my arm around Wendy Keegan's waist. I took out my checkbook, scribbled, and by so doing, rented a one-room apartment with a charming ocean view that Wendy Keegan, my lady friend, never got a chance to sample. That room was where I set up some nights with my stereo turned down low, playing Jimi Hendrix and the Doors, having those occasional thoughts of suicide. They were sophomore rather than serious, just the fantasies of an imaginative young man with a heart condition, or so I tell myself now, all these years later. But who, or so I tell myself now, all these, or so I tell myself now, all these years later. But who really knows? When it comes to the past, everyone writes fiction. I tried to reach Wendy from the bus station, but her stepmom said she was out with Renee. When the bus got to Washington, oh, when the bus got to Wilmington, I tried again, but she was still out with Renee. I asked Nadine, the stepmom, if she had any idea where they might have gone. Nadine said she didn't. She sounded as if I were the most uninteresting caller she'd gotten all day, maybe all year, maybe in her life. I got along well enough with Wendy's dad, but Nadine Keegan was never one of my biggest fans. Finally, I was in Boston by then. I got Wendy. She sounded sleepy, although it was only 11 o'clock, which is the shank of the evening to most college students on spring break. I told her I got the job. Hooray for you, she said. Are you on your way home? Yes, as soon as I get my car. And if it didn't have a flat tire. In those days, I was always running on baldies, and it seemed one of them was going flat. A spare, you ask? Pretty pretty funny, senor. I could spend the night in Portsmouth instead of going straight home and see you tomorrow if wouldn't be a good idea. Renee's staying over, and that's about all the company Nadine can take. You know how sensitive she is about company. Some company, maybe, but I thought Nadine and Renee had always gone on like a house fire, like a house of fire, drinking endless cups of coffee and gossiping about their favorite movie stars as if they were personal friends. But this didn't seem like the time to say so. Or, already, or I know this word, but come on. Ordinarily, oh, oh my gosh. Ordinarily, I'd love to talk to you, Dev, but I was getting ready to turn in. Me and Ren had a busy day, shopping and things. She didn't elaborate on the things part, but I found I didn't care to ask about them. Another warning sign. Love you, Wendy. Love you too. That sounded per perfunctory. That's another word that I don't know. Perfunctory rather than fervent. That's two. She's just tired, I told myself. She must be. I rode north out of Boston with a distant feeling of unease. Something about the way she had sounded, that lack of and and enthusiasm. That lack of enthusiasm, something about the way she has sounded. That lack of enthusiasm, and I forgot the word. That lack of enthusiasm, I didn't know. That lack of enthusiasm, I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I wanted to know, but I wondered. Sometimes, even now, all these years later, I wonder. She's nothing to me now. She's nothing to me these days, but a scar and a memory. Someone who hurt me as a young, who hurt me as young women will hurt young men from time to time. A young woman from another life. Still, I can't help wondering where she was that day, what those things were, and if it was really Renee St. Clair she was with. We could argue about what constitutes the creepiest line in pop music, but for me, it's early Beatles, John Lennon, actually singing, "I'd rather see you dead, little girl, than to be with another man." Huh? John Lennon actually singing, "I'd rather see you dead, little girl. I'd rather see you dead, little girl, than to be with another man." I could tell you I never felt that way about Wendy. I could tell you I never felt that way about Wendy in the aftermath of the breakup, of the break